Hello, in this video we are going to see what is remote sensing. So let me welcome you all. So the question is, what is remote sensing? It's not a tough thing to understand. The name itself says what it is. Okay, you can actually understand what is remote sensing just by looking at the name. So it is not tough, not difficult to understand. You have to just divide those two words, remote and sensing. Then there it is. You can easily understand what is remote sensing. So if you are having any trouble with understanding what is remote sensing, the answer is pretty simple. Okay, it is sensing information from outside or from a distant position with no contact. That is, if you want to get information about any object, you need not touch it. There is no need for any physical contact. You can stay away from that object. Suppose you can stay in India and get the information about an object that is located in France or Germany without looking at it, without touching at it. That is, you are staying at a remote position and you are sensing information. So you are staying remote and are sensing information. That is nothing but remote sensing. That is, you are using remote sensing. Okay, the process is called remote sensing, getting information by staying in a remote position. So actually you and me are using this remote sensing everywhere without knowing it. Okay, so you are using and I'm also using this remote sensing everywhere in our everyday life unknowingly. So let us see some simple examples where we are using remote sensing. So this is nothing. Okay, actually, do you know how your eyes are working? Do you know how your television is working? It's all remote sensing. So just try to understand how these two things are working. If you are able to understand those two things, you can actually appreciate the use of remote sensing in your everyday life. These two are very good examples. So let's go into the details. So first see how the eye works. So first of all, there should be sufficient light if you want to see the objects, because in night times you will face difficulty because there won't be any light. So there should be some light, either it might be sunlight or it might be torch. So either it is natural light or artificial light, whatever it is, there should be some sufficient amount of light if you want to see the objects. Then whatever light that falls on the objects, it travels towards your eyes, right? So if there is some sunlight and if I am putting some plant or some duster in that sunlight, okay, that sunlight is going to fall on that particular plant or object, whatever it is. Then whatever that sunlight that is falling onto that object, it is going to travel towards your eyes. So your eyes are going to sense that sunlight. Then it is going to send that information to your brain. Whatever the thing that is perceived by the eye, that will be sent in the form of a signal to your brain, and your brain analyzes, okay, whether I have seen that object before, is it a new thing, is it dangerous, is it soft, is it hard, like that. This kind of information will be analyzed by your brain, and with that analysis, your brain will send a signal to you, okay, this is plant, okay, this is a tree, like that. So this way you are going to identify. Next thing is, this way you can easily understand what the object you are seeing. So this way your eye works. So here you are not tucking your eye and are going to keep it on the plant to understand this is a plant. You are staying away from the plant and you are still able to appreciate that it is a plant. So you are staying at a remote position and you are identifying that it is a plant. So actually you are using remote sensing here. You are staying in a remote position and you are identifying that it is a plant. So here it is remote sensing that makes your eye keep working. So another example is operating television. So most of us are having televisions in our homes that are remote controlled. So whenever you want to change a program, you just press a button and the channel is going to change. So how this is happening? The first thing that occurs is when you are pressing a button, actually let me tell you, your remote should be charged. That in the sense it should have good batteries if you want to work with your remote. So the first thing is there should be remotes in your battery and the TV should be switched on. Then you are going to press a button, and according to the number that is pressed, the sensors in the remote are going to understand you have pressed 7, you have pressed 3, like that, and according to those numbers it is going to send a signal towards the TV. So this signal will be received by the sensors in the television, and according to the signal received by the sensors, the channel is going to change. This way your television works. So you're going to press a button, then the sensors will understand your wish. That is, the sensors in the remote are going to understand your wish, and according to that a signal will be sent towards the TV from this remote, and this signal will be received further by the sensors that are present in the television. Then these sensors will send the information to the systems that are present in the TV to change the channel. So your channel will be changed. So you are not going to touch the TV to change the channel, but just pressing a button. So you are controlling the TV staying in a remote position. So the TV is sensing the information without touching that remote. So this is actually a remote sensing process. So this is how remote sensing works. Without any physical contact, the system is going to work. We are going to control the system and we are going to acquire the information without any physical contact. This is what we call it as remote sensing. So next thing is definition of remote sensing. Actually this is a basic definition of remote sensing. There are actually different branches of remote sensing, different types of remote sensing. We are going to discuss those things in next videos, upcoming videos. So for this video, let's see what is the basic definition of simple remote sensing. So here it is given like, remote sensing is the acquisition of information about an object or phenomenon with the help of sensors located either ground bound or space bound and without making any physical contact with the object, thus in contrast to the sight observation. So if you see this definition, it tells that the sensors will be located either ground bound or space bound. Ground bound in the sense the sensor's position will be on the ground, that is the remote control of TV, it is present on the ground. So there are different types of sensors. We will discuss more about these things in next videos. So space bound in the sense the satellites, these send the information about the earth, but the sensors are located far in the sky, so these are called as space bound. So sensors can be either ground bound or space bound, and these sensors receive information and gives information without making any physical contact with the objects. So if you see the ground observations, we are going to touch them physically. If you want to know about soil, you are going to touch that soil and tell that okay, it is soft, it is hard, it is granular, like that. So whereas with the remote sensing, you are not going to touch, you are not going to make any physical contact, but you are going to give the information. So this is it. So this is how satellite remote sensing works, that is space bound remote sensing. In that sense, sensors are located in the space. So just see, this is the satellite located in the space, that is sky. So first thing that is required is some energy source. So sun is the energy here. The energy that is falling onto the ground, that is sunlight, will be reflected back to the satellite. So in between there is some processes that occur. The sunlight that travels through the atmosphere in order to fall on the objects, and this sunlight will be slightly absorbed by the objects, that is grass, forest, water, like that. So different objects absorb sunlight in a different ways. So there will be difference in the intensity of the light received by the satellite from these objects. If the tree is reflecting energy, it will reflect in a different manner. If the water is reflecting the energy, it will reflect in a different manner. The grass is reflecting, it will reflect the energy in a different manner, because these bodies will not absorb this energy in a uniform way. So the amount of energy received by the sensors in the satellite from these objects will vary depending upon what is this object. So these sensors will receive this energy, and according to that a signal will be prepared in this satellite, and it will be sent to the ground, that's all, to the antennas or the data centers, and that data will be analyzed further to understand what is the information about this forest. That's it. This is how satellite remote sensing works. We will discuss more about this satellite remote sensing in the next videos. So till now we have discussed these things. We have seen what is remote sensing. We have understood how remote sensing works. We have seen some real life examples like working of TV, working of eye. Then we have also seen what is the definition of remote sensing. And in the next video we are going to see remote sensing of earth. So how remote sensing of earth is functioning, and what are the different components of remote sensing, and what are the requirements of an ideal remote sensing system. So this is what we are going to see in our next video. Thank you for watching.